Welcome back for another video. In today's video, we'll be adding salt to my pond. So here's my pond. The water is pretty clear. You can see, and the fish are super happy. The other day though, before I left the house, I noticed one of my fish that were swimming right at the top of the pond. It's a hybrid carp, so you can't typically see that one unless it's at the top, and it was just swimming at the top, lethargic, floating around. All the other fish would eat when I throw the food over there, but that guy was just over there. So before I headed out, I did add some salt to the pond, which I'll show in a sec, and then that was yesterday. Then this morning, unfortunately, that fish did pass away, so I'm not sure what exactly was up with it, since all the other fish are fine and there was nothing really signs on the fish. I mean, its tail was kind of beat up. I did bury it in the garden, so its nutrients will benefit the vegetables and everything, but all the other fish are looking fine as far as I can see. But to be safe, I'm gonna be adding more salt to it. So the other day I added, I think it was 40 pounds or whatever, however weight that is, to the pond. And then I think I need to add another 40 pounds to get to the right concentration of salt. Here's the salt that I use for my pond. I get it from Home Depot, so it's a lot cheaper. It is water softener salt, but it is safe for the fish, so you can add it to the pond and everything. It's pretty much just base form where it says sodium chloride, which is just salt, so it has no effects on the fish. I've used this plenty of times. It's super cheap. I forget how much it is, because I bought this a bit ago just to be safe and have it, you know, just in case something happens with the fish. But it's super cheap, a lot cheaper than buying like Epsom salts or pond salts online, because this is 40 pounds and it's like, I think 10 bucks or something cheap. But this is the salt I use. If you want, you could just pour the whole bag. Well, it depends on how big your pond is. I'll post in the description, if I can, a chart on the concentrations based on how many gallons and so forth. Then you can calculate if you know the gallons. If you don't, then you do want to get a water meter and just add and test the next day or whatnot. But for my pond, as I mentioned, I need about 2 of these guys, so I can just pour it in the pond and it will eventually dissolve into it. Or if you want, you can put this in a bucket, stir it around so you dissolve it before adding to the pond itself. So there are different ways to salt your fish. The salt basically kills some of the bacteria in the pond or whatnot that could be harmful to the fish itself. So you can either do like a salt bath, where you take out the fish, if you know this one is bad, put it in some pond water and add a higher concentration of salt for a short period, and that could kill some stuff on it. You do want to be careful with that, because it's a higher concentration. If you leave them in there too long, they could die. I've had happen before where I had a tub in here with salts. I left the house and then a fish actually jumped in it, and then I came back and it was dead. So that was not good. But if you want to do just a salt treatment on the fish itself, then you can get a separate tub, take some pond water, add some salt, and the concentration that you want for that is higher than how I'm going to do it in the pond, which is just a general. You're going to get about 2.5 to 3% of salt into the thing, so it's about 1 to 1.2 pounds of salt per 5 gallons of water, if you're going to calculate it like that. And then you want to leave them in there for about 2 to 5 minutes. If you start to see them becoming pretty lethargic and bad, then you want to take them out. But for my purposes, I'm just going to be doing like a salt therapy or salt treatment for the entire pond, which I can leave it in there for a month or longer, depending on how high I'll go in the concentration. So for mine, I'll be putting, I think it's, let's see, it's about 0.3 to 0.5% salt, so that's about 2.4 to 4 pounds of salt per 100 gallons of water. So I'll put it around that concentration, maybe a little less, because that would be for like 4 weeks. If I put a less in, then I can keep it in there indefinitely. It's not going to harm the fish. It will cause the plants not to grow as quickly, but this will help the fish and make sure that there's nothing wrong with them, or if there is something up in the pond, it will get rid of whatever it is in there, so I can make sure nothing else happens. Because as I mentioned, that was the only fish that I saw with an issue, and then it did pass away this morning. But all the other fish are swimming fine. They do get nips on their fins, but that's from the turtles and so forth. The one that, this guy actually might be looking a little funny. So that goldfish, maybe not, we'll see. But I'll add the salt in, and that should protect them. I've done it multiple times. And the salt will stay in the water. The only way it leaves the system is through doing water changes. So you'll have that concentration of salt in the water until you take water out. It's not gonna leave through evaporation or anything like that. So my pond is semi-connected to my aquaponics system in there. The salt that I'm going to be using doesn't have any benefits for the plants that I'm growing, because it's just sodium chloride. If you do use Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfide, I believe, that will add some benefits to the plant, because plants do need magnesium. So if you use Epsom salt, that will help the plants out, but the salt that I'm using is just for the purpose of helping the fish out to get rid of any diseases. So here's a salt meter I got a while back. I got this used, but I can post a link, I think, if it's on Amazon or whatnot. I'll post it in the description. But I did add 40 pounds of salt yesterday, so we can see what concentration it is at. Oh, I gotta press the button. So from the 40 pounds of salt I added the other day, the concentration of salt is at 0.24. So I can add some more or leave it like this, but I'll definitely add some more to the pond and then get it at a higher concentration. Before you do salt the pond, you do want to do a water change. I did a water change not too long ago, so I'm good on that. And as I mentioned, one way you can just pour the bag in, which is what I did yesterday, and then that will dissolve over time. Or with this bag, if you're gonna use the whole thing, I've just stuck the hose in here and then had it overflow, or if you stick it in a bucket and stir it around and pour it in. But I'm just gonna pour this in, which, oh my, I wasn't paying attention, I just poured it all over the fish. But this will dissolve, and then if I added too much salt, I can just do a water change tomorrow, because I'll let it dissolve into the pond for 24 hours, and then I can test it with the meter. It's all down there. It's not, I haven't harmed the fish doing it this way. I've never actually poured it on top of them. That was a first, because I haven't done it while recording. But this will dissolve, and as mentioned, then I'll just test it tomorrow, and it should be good. This shouldn't get it too high. It should get it right about, because I've done the 80 pounds in this pond. I forget exactly how many gallons my pond is. 2,500, and then there's more water in there, so something more than that. But I'll post the chart, as I mentioned, in the description. If my explanation wasn't too clear, if you just follow the chart, that's the best way to do it. Hopefully I didn't hurt any of the fish when I poured the salt on top of them. They're all acting well, but that will dissolve and then treat anything or any problems that have arisen in the pond to whatever happens to that other fish. Ideally, I would want to know exactly what happened to that fish, and you can treat accordingly. Since it is aquaponics, I don't want to add any chemicals into here, so the salt is a simple solution. So we'll see how that goes. It should solve it. I haven't had any issues when adding salt into the pond itself. So now I have it at 0.38, so I'll leave it like this for a bit. If I want to get higher concentration, I just add more salt, and if I do water changes and want to keep it at this concentration, then I'll just have to add salt. And if I want to get the salt out of the system, then I just have to do water changes until it disappears. But otherwise, like this is a good concentration to keep it at to help treat them. So it's been about 2 weeks that I've added the salt into the pond, and all the fish are looking good. I only had one other fish have a problem, which it developed dropsy, which was a goldfish. So either the turtles got to it or just got sucked into the skimmer. Otherwise, these guys are doing good. I will post a link in the description on Amazon where you can get the salt, but it's like 30 bucks. So it's definitely better to get it from Home Depot, which is only $9, $10. I feel a lot cheaper. But if you can't access a Home Depot, I'll post the Amazon link. And also, depending on what the fish have, either using Epsom salt or the sodium chloride, it will benefit differently. So you just want to look up, if you do know what your fish has, then you can treat it accordingly based on the different salts or medications. But this is a general treatment which works well. I've done it multiple times. I haven't had any issues in the pond with the fish. It just generally treats some infections or whatever is on the fish. So far they're looking good. Doesn't seem to bother the turtles either. Since I can't post a chart in the description on the channel, here's just a salt concentration chart that you can see. You can look at this to determine the salt concentration that you need for your pond. Well, that about sums up this video. If you did like this one, remember to check out one of my other videos up here. If you do have any comments or suggestions on pond salting or other pond stuff, just leave those in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.